My third guest, which is going to be my first guest, he's actually a dear friend, and he got his big break back on the Karate Kid 3. He's known as one of daytime's bad boys from General Hospital, the bold and the beautiful, young and the restless. Let's give him a late night welcome for my pal, Sean Kanan. There he is. I even got your.
In the making, right?
That's it. I even got my own bottle of
Thank
water.
you.
Me and Sean shared dressing rooms this morning. That's it. How's it going, pal?
Things are good. You know, it's exciting to be back on the East Coast here. You and I talked about doing this for what?
Forever.
Forever. And now here we finally are. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you for coming, man. What's going on? I mean, you're from Cleveland, Ohio, and you grew up in Pennsylvania. Why don't you give us a little family background for people who don't know about you?
I grew up in a small town called Newcastle, Pennsylvania. We lived about 5 miles from the Amish people, so it was really,
wow.
You know, was never strange to see a horse and buggy driving by. I got shipped off to boarding school when I was 16 to correct a few behavioral issues. And I went to Boston University and then finally graduated UCLA with a degree in poli-sci and started my acting career.
Yeah, I heard about that science.
Yeah.
What made you take that?
You know, I think, you know, you tell your parents that you want to be an actor, and it's like saying you're going to run away and join the circus. And my dad had, you know, he's a real educated guy. College was very important. And he said, look, you can do whatever you want. I'll support what you do, but you got to finish college. And so I figured, I don't know, I figured maybe I'd go to law school or do something like that, maybe dabble in politics. And, you know, acting is really, it's my love. And, you know, it won out.
My father was easy on me. He goes, as long as you get out of high school. he was happy. I wanted to be a rock star.
Setting that bar high, right?
Yeah. Now listen, how did you get the acting bug? At what age and what got you into it? I mean, what did you?
Like I said, I grew up in a small town, and I think when you grew up in a small town, it tends to produce big dreams.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to do something to express myself. You know, and I would say probably around the time I was 13 or 14, I started getting involved in plays, and by the time I was about 15, I knew sooner or later I was gonna head out to California and, you know, see what I could do.
I mean, did you just pack it up and go, or did you have a game plan?
I didn't have much of a game plan. I transferred from Boston University to UCLA to finish up my degree, and while I was there, I've studied martial arts since I was 13 years old, and the head of my martial arts organization also happened to be Pat Morita's stunt double. He was Mr. Miyagi's stunt double, and he's an amazing martial arts master, very thick Japanese accent, and he said, Sean, they're looking for a new bad guy. You go out and go try, get part. I said, okay. So they had an open call. I think it was Warner Brothers at the time, and I showed up, and there must have been, I guess there were like 2,000 people there trying to get noticed for this part. And I think they did this as a publicity stunt because, you know, the chances of finding a guy who's going to be a lead in a successful franchise, you don't normally find that from an open call.
Yeah.
So John Avildsen, who had directed
the
Rocky movies, he won the Academy Award, was walking up this line, and I knew I had a very few seconds to try and get his attention. And I did, and they brought me into the studio, and there was Ralph Macchio, and next thing I knew, I'm in a Hollywood soundstage surrounded by, you know, Academy Award-winning producers, and I'm doing a scene with Ralph Macchio. And they said to me, okay, can you intimidate him? And I said, I'll give it a shot, and I guess it worked, and I got the role.
No, because definitely, that's great.
Thank you.
I remember watching that, and I can still remember because we were all Karate Kid fans, me and my brother. But you know, you definitely played an intimidating guy in there. I mean, you know, you were natural with that. You know.
Well, you know, it's funny. I do a lot of work with anti-bullying nonprofits. I'm the Young Men's Youth Ambassador for Buddha Bullying, and it's interesting that I played this iconic bully. And yet, you know, I'm very involved in anti-bullying. So I don't know what I drew on, but you know, it was an amazing role for me to get. It kind of put me on the map, and it opened up a lot of other opportunities for me. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And then a year later, you started doing the Fox series, The Outsiders. Why don't you tell everybody about that? Because that was a great series. I didn't know who you were at the time.
So when I was a kid, I read all of the books by S.E. Hinton. She had written The Outsiders, which, you know, there was the movie with Tom Cruise and Rob Lowe, and Ralph Macchio coincidentally was in it. The other books too, that was then, this is now. And after I did Karate Kid, Francis Ford Coppola turned what was a successful movie into a TV series, and it didn't last long. It lasted one season.
Okay.
But I played the leader of the rich kids gang, the Socs. And it was so much fun. You know, I was like 19 years old, and we're doing these scenes. We're all dressed like from the 50s, and we do this big rumble scene, and they've got all these cars from the 50s that we're driving coming into this big soundstage, and there's oil barrels on fire, and the guy who's the head of the greasers, he walks out, and I walk out, and we look at each other like a couple of badasses, and then I proceed to get my lights punched out. So.
And whoever knew with The Outsiders, the original movie, everyone became a huge star. Right?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Rob
9
Lowe
out of 10 of
and
them.
Emilio Estevez and, you know, so many guys that was a springboard for
Patrick
them.
Swayze.
Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then a year later, General Hospital, right?
Yeah, I kind of did it backwards. I did a big movie first and then went to the soaps. Most people do the soaps and then they go to a big movie. But yeah, you know, I got a great offer to go and play AJ Quartermain. I was the only guy screen testing for the part, so I knew if I didn't get it, I must really be pretty bad. So fortunately, I got it, and I think I was on the show for close to 6 years, and then I just went back about 2 years ago for the 50th anniversary and reprised my role.
You know, General Hospital, you can't beat General Hospital. The King's.
Yeah, you can. Bold and the Beautiful.
Gets it. Bold and the Beautiful, too. We got to promote both of them. But,
Exactly.
You know, at the time when General Hospital was huge with that whole Sonny and Brenda storyline.
Well, also, you know, Luke and Laura.
Huge.
Yeah.
I started watching, you know, a lot of people don't know, but people know, watch the show, know me. I started watching two girls I used to date back in the day. I watched General Hospital when I was in high school because I had to put up with it. But then I wound up liking General Hospital, and then I got addicted to it.
I think everybody at some point in their life has gotten sucked into a soap opera.
Yeah.
You know, usually it happens when you're in the hospital or you're in college for a while. I remember when I was in college, it was Dynasty. I mean, everybody stopped everything they were doing to watch Dynasty. So.
Now, talk about how you got on to the other soaps, because it seems like you went on to every network, ABC, CBS, NBC.
I think once you get onto one soap and you can demonstrate that you're capable of doing the work, that you can learn what's usually a voluminous amount of material. You know, we do sometimes 75, 80 pages a day, which means, you know, my homework sometimes is learning 35 pages of dialogue.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
It's crazy, but I think once you sort of achieve a certain level of success, and you know you have a following with the fans, it's easier to go from one show to another.
Now let me ask you a question, because I don't know. How come Deegan Sharp, that was your character in The Bold and Beautiful, how come they brought that same name to Young and the Restless?
Because I played the same character in The Young and the Restless.
That's what
yeah, they're sort of sister shows. So.
Oh, really?
Right.
Like Port Charles and like General Hospital back in the day, something like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
I didn't know that.
Well, Young and the Restless is obviously not a spin-off from Bold and the Beautiful, whereas Port Charles was a spin-off of General Hospital. But we have 3 or 4 characters that cross back and forth from Bold and the Beautiful and Young and the Restless. I was fortunate enough to be one of them.
That's great, man. Now listen, you did a lot of independent films as well as appearances in motion picture and a lot of TV shows like Desperate Housewives and Who's the Boss. What were your best experience, favorite ones, favorite people to work with maybe?
I tell you, for me, I really think that doing theater is my favorite.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. Once the curtain comes up, it's you on the stage. There's no director yelling cut. There's no one editing, and for better or for worse, you know, let the chips fall where they may. And I think that's really, as an actor, for me, I think theater is where you really.
No, that separates the pros from the amateurs.
That's exactly. That's where you make your bones. I really think that's where you make your bones. You know, I love television because it's very fast. You know, you know, people think a lot of times that we work these really torturous hours on soap operas, and to be honest, they've got it down to such a science. And because the soap operas, there's I think 4 or 5 left on TV, whereas before there was 8 or 9, they've got to turn this stuff out so quickly that they get us in and out pretty fast. I like that. The thing I like the most about film is that you've got usually a long period of rehearsal to develop the character, and it really allows you the most time to do, I think, the best work.
Yeah. I know, listen, the stage, I've seen a lot of actors do great work when they're acting, but when they put them on the stage, they can't,
It's a
that
different
shows
animal,
the
right?
crafts, man. It really is. I give you a lot of credit for that.
you.
Now talk about the competition you did in Italy with the Italy version
Oh,
of
yeah.
Dancing with the Stars.
Okay, so I was a contestant on Dancing with the Stars, just not in this country, in Italy. And I got to tell you, it doesn't exactly have the same cachet as the American version. It's kind of like being on The Voice in Guatemala. So I get the call to do Dancing with the Stars, and there's only two problems here. I couldn't dance, and I didn't speak Italian.
I wanted to see. I never saw it.
So I got like one dance move. Like most white heterosexual males, it's called the pocket shuffle. Can I show you?
Yeah, good.
All right, so the hand goes in the here. Take that.
Okay.
The hand goes in the pocket, and it just sort of goes like this. Now, if I want to get nuts, I throw in the snap. If I want to go bonkers, I throw in the point. The point says, honey, I don't want to be dancing, but I'm dancing for you. That's all the moves I got. So, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. We had to train like 4 hours a day. I mean, and you're learning all this choreography. And here's the thing that is really hard. When you're the guy, you have to lead, right? So I had to lead, and I didn't know how to dance at all. So I got such a respect for these guys that do this, because they are absolutely athletes.
Oh, forget
about it, right? But it was an amazing experience. I got to live in Italy. I lived in another country. Beautiful culture. My wife and I were married in Italy. We had our honeymoon there, and I consider myself a closet Italian.
You got to be a closet Italian to be in that job. Now talk about the indie film that you did back in 2009, Abracadabra, directed by Julie Pacino, Al's daughter.
So you did do your research, huh?
Yeah.
You went deep.
I know stuff. I don't even know stuff. I know this guy forever. Half the stuff I saw.
This is a great experience. I get a call from Julie Pacino, who's Al Pacino's daughter, and she was directing a very cool short that Al Pacino was executive producing, and I was fortunate enough to get a terrific part in that. I worked with an actress named Beth Grant, who a terrific actress. Maybe people know her from Donnie Darko. She's done dozens and dozens of movies, and that was the first time I got to shoot in New York. And when we do Bold and Beautiful in General Hospital, we're shooting in a sound stage, not in front of a live audience like having you guys. And having a live audience, it gives you so much energy.
Yeah.
And shooting on the streets in New York is kind of like that, because no matter where you are, when people see a film crew, about 15 minutes, everybody starts gathering around, and it's almost like you're doing, it's a little bit like you're doing theater, because you suddenly have a live audience.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not paying attention to them because you're doing your stuff, but there's an electricity in the air that I think for me it really heightened the experience.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
1,000%.
And here's the cool thing. So we shot at the church where, remember the scene in The Godfather where they say, Michael Corleone, renounce Satan and da-da-da-da? So we're shooting in there. I'm a huge Godfather fan. I mean, who doesn't love The Godfather, right? So then Julie Pacino tells me a little piece of trivia. She was the baby that was getting baptized.
Oh, wow.
Is that crazy? So Al Pacino's daughter was the baby in The Godfather. So, for me, it felt like a little piece of cinematic history. A lot of fun. Every job has a reason why it's special.
Now that church you said was in Manhattan?
Yeah, it's by Mulberry Street, I think, and I don't know New York very well.
Because there's another church that's in our neighborhood in Mount Loretto when they had another scene of The Godfather there. So, right? Yeah.
All right.
Really beautiful church. Now listen, you have a new film out.
Yeah.
What is it called? South 32.
It's called South 32,
Okay.
and the title refers to a sorority house.
All right.
And it's got kind of an anti-bullying theme to it. It opens up on a triple homicide in Malibu, California, and I play the lead detective investigating the homicide. And it turns out that one of the characters who was being severely bullied, all of her tormentors have been systematically killed, and I'm investigating it. Really exciting, a lot of fun for me to play a homicide detective. I got to do some really interesting research. I hung out with an amazing guy. His name's Jay Dobbins. He's an ex ATF agent, and he wrote a book called No Angel because he went undercover and he infiltrated the Hells Angels and took down a chapter. And
Wow.
I got the ability to pick his brain a little bit. So that was a lot of fun. It's in theaters right now in Los Angeles. It stars Melissa Archer, Robert Paul Taylor, and great new producer, Luigi Bond did it. And you know, I'm very proud of being in this film.
Well, I saw part of the movie. It was great. I want to see it, and we actually have a clip here.
Are you gonna play a clip? Okay,
We're gonna
cool.
share it with the
Terrific.
audience.
Sure. I think this is a clip where my partner decides that maybe the main suspect, who's this beautiful girl who we interrogate in a hospital room and is the only survivor of the homicide, he thinks she did it, and I don't.
All right, control room. Let's roll the clip.
Jesus fucking Christ, what the hell was that? What, are you coddling her?
I believe her.
No. Do not tell me you slept with her.
What?
You fucking
No. What?
crazy?
No. I think she's telling the truth.
You see all those text messages? I'm telling you, man, this girl is a psychopath. We should arrest her right now. We have motive.
You think that girl sitting in there committed 3 homicides? What are you, nuts? We've got nothing. We're spinning our wheels here.
Thomas, her sister committing suicide gives her motive. We can take her right now. Let's take her back to the crime scene and put her face in it.
What?
Trust me, she will break. Take her back to the crime scene.
Wait a second. Jesus Christ, you want to go back to Malibu?
Hey, you got my back on this or what? Come on.
Fuck it.
All right. Excellent.
Thank you.
Now listen, that's almost your time. Why don't we talk about your stand-up comedy, where you're performing lately, and what are we going to be doing this weekend? And we're going to have a good time.
We are going to be going to the fabulous Taj Mahal Hotel and Casino
Yes.
in Atlantic City. And I'll tell you, really quickly, I got a friend in the audience with me, and when he and I were, I think we were about 15 and a half, I may have procured my parents' car without asking. I don't remember. We drove to Atlantic City, and they had like a talent show. And I remember I started doing some stand-up on the boardwalk, and I don't know, something clicked with me that I really love doing it. And I haven't been back to Atlantic City in years, but it's really kind of exciting for me to go back there and performing inside an actual hotel,
Yeah.
not on the boardwalk. So I'm really looking forward to it. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Well, me and Sean, a little piece of nostalgia. Me and Sean met in 1997 when I was really active with NYB, and I used to have Johnny Feedback, my guitar player. So I go, listen, I got this guy from General Hospital. You know, never met you before. General Hospital. I go, let's go. He's playing at Grandpa's Comedy Club. Right. So he goes, General Hospital. He wanted to make fun of, just come. Let's go have a good time. So we wound up going. So after the show, I knew the owner, and we got introduced to Sean. And he was just the coolest, nicest, just one of the boys. And he pulled us right in with him. He's like, stay here, come with us, meet me here. And I was like, okay. And then you changed Johnny Feedback whole outlook. He started watching General Hospital a week later. And that's how me and Sean met. And then we lost
Almost
track.
20 years ago, right?
Yeah, we lost track. Facebook brought us back together, like in 2008, and that's it.
Just like a couple of 7th grade girls, huh?
So, Sean, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm kind of a Twitter guy, because I figure I can't get myself in that much trouble with, 147 characters or something? So, if people would like to follow me, it's at Sean Kanan. And, I usually try and respond to everybody.
And one more thing I forgot to tell you, Sean has a cool book out.
Yeah.
Plug it.
My book's called The Modern Gentleman, Cooking and Entertaining with Sean Kanan. And it's kind of a hybrid. It's a cookbook, and it's also a book that teaches men how to be better men and women how we think.
I read it. That's why I am who I am.
If that isn't a ringing endorsement, I don't know what is.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure. I know I love you and Michelle.
Appreciate
Take care.
it, pal.
Sean Kanan, everybody. All right, actor Sean Kanan. You'll be seeing him real soon.